Good evening from Farlington Marshes, where it's been quite a while since I made a video from here, partly because my phone, which I usually would use for recording videos on, has got so full of junk that it hasn't got room for any more video. So I've acquired another old phone from my lovely wife, Nicola, Mike 7 November Whiskey Whiskey. I think it's been so long since I made a video that she probably hadn't passed her licence at that point, but she's now passed her foundation licence here in England, and she's been on the air from this spot. And on her first Parks on the Air activation, she worked Alaska on was 10 watts at that time, so she was very pleased with that. But it's a beautiful evening here. I haven't made a video for a long time, as I say, partly also because I've not had anything much new to report. I'm just coming over here still 2 or 3 times a week and grinding out the QSOs in the evening to the US or the South America, on occasion VK if we get an opening, mainly on 20 metres to that part of the world. Hunting down the expeditions when I can. I've just missed the Mozambique crew. Couldn't get through their pile-up. But hopefully as things move on we'll have a bit more luck as more happens later in the year. And one of the other reasons I'm making this video is just really to talk a bit about the environment here, because you can see over in the distance there are some red barriers there which are actually protecting a sinkhole in the embankment. This is very much an environment under threat, and as I've explained on my QRZ page, if you ever bored yourself to tears reading that, this area here, Farlington Marshes, is essentially a reclaimed area of marshland which is protected by this earth bank that goes all the way around. It was actually first built in the 1760s by convict labour, because we have various prisoners at that time who were, I think, originally being held, or actually, were originally used over there to build Fort Cumberland, which is one of the forts that protects Portsmouth over in the distance. And at the same time they were doing Fort Cumberland, they enclosed this area of marshland and it was drained for grazing. And since then it's had a really strange career, because at one point there was a race course here, a horse racing course that went across from over there, he points, if you can see it, all the way across here, following kind of that line of bushes and going off into the distance, somehow bridging this area of marsh in front of us. But since the 1930s it's just been left as marshland. It's now an internationally important site for migratory birds. There are some cattle grazing on it in the distance, which you can probably see. The lake here is connected, I should say, to the sea by a sluice under the bank here, and that sluice broke a couple of years ago, with the result that this lake was open to the sea and the entire marshes were flooded. Really, or most of the marshes were flooded up to a depth of about 2 feet. There's a fence post right there which was covered in water up to half its length, and I don't know if you can see the tide mark on the video, but there's definitely one there. So the sluice has been repaired temporarily and the marshes are now drained. They're fed from a freshwater spring on the far side of the main road, which is over there, and at the moment the flow is quite low because England has been very, very dry this spring and summer, so the water level here is quite low. And the other worry, besides the stress of water, is just the condition of this embankment. I mentioned that there's a sinkhole under those barriers there. This is an area where the coast is under threat of erosion and from rising sea levels. The city of Portsmouth, which is over there, has had hundreds of millions of pounds spent on it on new flood defences, which I'm grateful for because they protect my home and my family. But the future of this area isn't quite so clear. The official strategy by the government agency which is responsible for this, the Environment Agency, is hold the line. So in theory these sea defences here will be rebuilt and protected to preserve this shape of the coastline and also to preserve this internationally important wildlife habitat. But they're very, very slow to get moving on it. The repair of the sluice has not yet been made permanent. It's still only a temporary fix on the sluice between the sea and the lake, and it's a big concern now about this sinkhole because nobody knows quite what the condition of the embankment is underneath it. We don't know whether there have been any proper surveys done with ground penetrating radar or anything of that kind to determine what exactly is going on here, because if that sinkhole gets any bigger, then what is at risk, I'll come over here and show you, is the entire concrete wall that fronts the embankment, that I think was built probably about 50, a bit more than 50, probably getting on for 60 years ago. And this all really needs replacing. The level of the embankment needs to be made a bit higher ideally to protect it from flooding. So there's quite a lot going on here in addition to the radio. The conditions tonight are not particularly great. I've been on 15 metres and made one contact with Sugar Victor 3 Golf Hotel Zulu, sounding really kind of warbly. I think there's some sort of geomagnetic disturbance on 17 metres. I've just worked XQ6CF on CW on 17. He's the only signal on the band, or he was just now. I think there might be a Lima Zulu here, is there? Not sure, they may have gone, but you can see here the radio. Oh, yes, I do have something exciting to talk about. A new key. I had been using the CW Morse printed version. Been using the CW Morse printed version of the what's his call sign? I'll have to edit his call sign in. N0AF. It's gone. Anyway, I've been using that key and it was okay, but it did feel a little plasticky and not all that solid, and I had some problems with the contacts getting dirty. It was such an open-bodied key that every time I came home I'd have to get some paper and clean out between the contacts, because this is a challenging environment for anything. A lot of salt in the air, a lot of moisture, and it didn't really like that. But I've now got the TP3 key, the Bamatech TP3, which is an absolute work of art. Feels beautiful. I've got that mounted on a just on a bit of scrap steel that I found lying around, and you see it fits beautifully in the hand. It's been an absolute joy to use, and look forward to doing a lot more CW with it in the years to come. Hopefully from this spot, hopefully we can get something sorted out to preserve the environment here, because it's very important. And apart from everything else, it is just beautiful. Quite apart from being worth 20 dB of low angle gain for a ham radio operator, it is an absolutely stunning spot, and it really is something that's worth preserving, even against the onset, certainly for the time being, of global warming and rising sea levels, because we've already lost other habitat around here where migratory birds can come, and we really can't afford to lose this one. This one is absolutely crucial. So 7.3 from Farlington Marshes, which is now a threefer in Parks on the Air. Somebody's got it added in its own right. Golf Bravo 4591 now, in addition to Golf Bravo 0022 and Golf Bravo 0711, and hope to hear all of you on the air again very soon. 7.3. Oh dear, there's always one. I've just worked 8 Quebec 7 Yankee because I was the person paying attention when he said that he was going to go to working split, and he was listening at 5 to 10. I hit the quick split button on the 891, which puts the other VFO 5 kcs up, and worked in first call. Everybody else was still screaming away on his own frequency, and he's come straight back to me and given me 5 and 5. I gave him 5 and 7. He's dropped a little since then, and we got it done. So that's very nice. That'll be country 219 confirmed from here if that one comes in. So I'll be very pleased about that. And to celebrate, we always have a beer when we come out and do radio. Tonight I've got a very nice, if it will focus over here, Vibrant Forest Black Forest Porter. And we'll get that open and get that down my neck, because I'm feeling quite parched actually. It's quite a warm evening still, and I could do with a drink. Well, this really is the end. Managed to work a couple more parks on phone after I signed off on CW. Very nice weather in the evening. It's now about 11:15 clock time, so 22:15 Zulu. Definitely time for me to get to bed. All the gear's packed away. 7-3 everybody, and thank you for watching.